Hi, I'm Amanda from the Happy Homestead, and today I'm going to make pasta. Now, what's so exciting about this, for me at least, and hopefully for you as you watch and come along on the journey, is this is the first time I'm doing it. I've never made pasta before in my life, and I'd always wanted to. So I was gifted this amazing and beautiful pasta maker. It is a Marcato Atlas 150, and literally have never used it. I just took it out of the box yesterday. So we're gonna do that. I've watched some videos on YouTube on how to do it with the machine and just in general, and also read some online blogs and recipes and whatnot. So I have a general idea, but we're gonna try it out today. Now, traditionally, pasta is made with 00 flour. It's kind of like all-purpose flour, but it's refined a lot softer and smoother, right? Like, so the stones, when they're grinding, it gets really close. Like if you think of 0 through 10, as far as the level of coarseness, this is a 00, so very fine. I don't have 00 flour. I was not gonna go buy any. I do have all-purpose flour, which I might use a little bit, especially to dust the top of the dough in the machine. But really what I'm gonna try to do is make our pasta just a tad bit healthier by grinding my own soft white wheat grain. I have a MockMill grain grinder that you'll get to see. I'm grinding it just on the 0, so obviously it's not a 00, but I'm gonna grind it on the 0. And then I have semolina flour. So traditionally, again, 00 flour with a little bit of semolina. I'm gonna be doing 500 grams of flour and 5 eggs. So I'm gonna do approximately 75% the soft white wheat. I might mix in some all-purpose, I don't know. And then 25% semolina. Now, the reason I said 500 grams, right, it's really important that you weigh out your flour. Traditionally, right, I know for myself growing up in my younger years, I would just measure it out, right? 2.5 cups flour, 3 cups flour, whatever it is. I have learned that you get much more precise and accurate results when you weigh it out. So that's why I have the scale here. So we're actually gonna weigh out the ground flour to make sure we are accurate, because it's really important, especially when you're baking bread, guys. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is grind our soft white wheat and get this all going. So 25% of 500 is 125. So I am going to measure out 125 grams of semolina flour. I'm going to tear a hole here. And start measuring. Got the soft white wheat ground. I just wanted to measure this first. Ooh, that's very close. Okay, perfect. 125 grams of semolina there. And now we want to measure out the soft white wheat that we've ground. And the reason I chose the soft white wheat is because it has a lower protein than hard white wheat. And so I didn't want a dough that was really stiff. Okay, so we've tared that. So let's go and weigh this out. You could use all-purpose flour, by the way. You do not need to grind your own flour. You can use all-purpose, and that's perfectly fine. Okay, so that's 405 grams. So a little bit more than we need. So in this case, because I have a tad more, I'll just put that in a little container and freeze it, and then use it on the next time I need some flour. Okay, 375, perfect. So I'm not actually gonna add any all-purpose in right now. So I'm gonna mix the semolina and the soft white wheat. 500, excellent. Okay, so we are done with the scale. I'm just gonna mix this up a bit. Now I could probably sift this together, but honestly, I'm not gonna go to that trouble. Okay, I think we are ready for the next step. Okay, so let's dump our flour. And we're gonna just make a little well in the center. All right. Truth be told, I'm a little nervous but excited. Okay, so let's get our eggs. See now where you really want to make sure your well is big enough so that eggs aren't running off the counter. All right, one more. Oops, be careful not to get shell. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So, oh, it's starting to run. So now what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna break up, goodness gracious, look at that. No! Soak it up. I'm just gonna start whisking the yolks. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, y'all. No! I did not make a good enough well. So keep that in mind when you do this. Okay, this is not a disaster. This is not a disaster. Now, theoretically, what I should have been doing, instead of trying to save this in that way, is I would be whisking the eggs and slowly incorporating some of the flour, but I'm still doing that. I just don't know that I'm doing it as slowly as I would have. Okay. Y'all, and this has to work because this is our family dinner tonight. So we don't have another option. So I have to get this to work. All right, and then you're basically bringing all the flour in. So 2 cardinal rules I have heard when you're making pasta. Number 1, never, ever, 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 ever get your pasta machine wet. That's when just disaster strikes. You want to keep it dry. So you're never actually like washing your pasta machine. Number 2, all right, I'm actually going to use this guy. Don't put salt in your dough. It is pretty dry. I've just been trying to bring this together. And y'all, it does not look like the dough that other people make. So I am just gonna drizzle a little water. Try and get this together. I feel confident it's still gonna work out and it's gonna taste good. It's just gonna require a little more love. And once I get it together, I'm just gonna knead it for a little bit. It's almost there. And then it's gonna rest for 30 minutes. So it's still a little crumbly. I am gonna add a tad more water, I think. I just wanna be sure. Yeah. Okay, so I've got some water. And get up some of these drier crumbs. All right. I don't think I'm gonna need to add any more water. So I can see why you'd want to use either all-purpose or double zero, just because I can feel that it's definitely more coarse. I think if I were to do it differently, I would do a mixture of my soft white wheat and all-purpose and maybe sift it together. I think that would probably create a tinier, better result. Okay, well, I can tell you the color looks right, so at least we got that. I think the texture is probably pretty good. But yeah, I think we're ready to let it rest. So I am gonna wrap this in saran wrap and let it rest for 30 minutes before we roll out. And then we'll pick back up at the next step. Okay, so it's been 30 minutes, the dough is rested, and I'm feeling a lot more confident now. After it's rested, it feels good, but we'll see. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna unwrap this. I am going to clamp the pasta maker, so it comes with this clamp here, to the counter, and we're gonna start rolling it through. So you first wanna roll it through the first two rollers here, like the bigger ones, and get it through a couple of times and make sure you've got a really good uniform piece of dough. And then once I get through that, I'll be changing the dial settings to make it thinner. So it's on 0 right now, right? And it goes, I think, all the way up to 9. So around 5 or 6, I think, is the desired thickness for fettuccine. And then once we get to that thickness and I feel good about it, then we'll run it through the fettuccine cutter. And then I got this handy dandy drying rack as well, which we're gonna use today. So when you make your pasta, you can use it right away, which is kind of what we're gonna be doing, right? Or you can dry it, and then once it's dry, you can actually freeze it if you'd like. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna dry it. It's only gonna dry for a couple of hours before we actually cook it tonight anyway. So what I'll do is I will take the fettuccine out as it's coming. I'm using just a stainless steel straw here. You'll see this all demonstrated, right? But I'll pull it up as it's coming out and then slide it onto one of the drying racks. And then we'll let it dry. So let's get started. I'm excited. I'm really excited, guys. Okay, so I'm going to unwrap the dough here. I'm actually going to cut this either 2 or 3. I'm going to do 3 pieces. And I'll just leave that there until I can get to it. Okay, so I'm going to flatten it out a bit. All right, we need to flour dust the machine a little bit, as well as both sides of the dough. Okay, so we're gonna flatten it out just a little bit more, and we're gonna crank it through. And it's not working very well. So let's figure out what's happening here. I think it's too thick. I think I need to try again. It's on. Oh, you know what? It's not on 0. Okay, well that would have helped if I had done that first. Let's get this little thing out. Okay, let's try again. Oh, much better. Yay! Okay. So you can see, maybe you can see, it came out kind of, yes, you can come downstairs, honey. So I'm gonna fold it in thirds and go again. And the point of doing this is to get it a nice and uniform shape before you start really working on the thickness. Okay, so it still has these like little holes in it. I don't know if you can see some of these, but I'm just gonna fold it again. Again. Oh, that looks a lot better. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I'm actually gonna do one more though, just to be confident with it. You wanna be careful as it comes out because you don't want it to get stuck on itself. Oh, it's beautiful. Okay. So now I am going to put it on number 1.
I'm putting it on myself too. Put it by the heart.
Oh, does that look good? Okay. And you want to roll it through each number, I believe, twice. Be very careful not to break it or rip it. Okay, so we did 1 twice. Let's go to 2. And I've heard there is a motor that you can actually purchase for this machine, so you don't have to hand crank it. Oh, there goes the handle. But I really wanted to try this hand first. You want to get the feel of how this works, right? And how the dough comes out, and be in control of it until you really get the hang of it. Okay, so that was the first pass on number 2. Oh my gosh, I am so loving this. And so when you're making the pasta, you could actually leave it in these big sheets, right, once you get it to the desired thickness, and use it as lasagna layers, lasagna noodles. Okay, so now we're gonna go to number 3. So you can see, I'm so glad that I cut the dough into thirds, guys, because look how much this is making already. And obviously, if we don't eat it all tonight, or don't even cook it all rather, I can just dry it and then freeze it, or we can have leftovers for tomorrow. Okay, so that was the second pass on number 3. Let's go to number 4. Oh yeah. Cole, would you like to help me with this?
Oh, I wanna roll it. I'm gonna roll it. Which way? Which way?
Okay, so you're gonna do it this way. We're gonna do our second pass on number 4. You can watch and then you can roll the next one. Keep going. You gotta keep rolling. Don't stop.
Oh, it's gonna be in there.
Okay, keep going. Faster than that, honey. Kind of fed it in wrong. There we go. That's better.
It feels so cold, and it looks very good.
Good. This is going to be part of our dinner tonight. Faster, honey. Who has to? There you go. Keep going. There. All right, and now the last one, number 5, before we cut it. Okay. Okay. Good. Keep going. Don't stop. Sorry, I'm in the way. Good. Move your arm, please. There you go. It's awful crowded here. Good. Keep going faster. Crank it through. Excellent. All right, and now we get to cut it. Okay, excuse me.
I'll
sweetie.
cut it.
Well, hold on. Hold on. Don't touch it. Don't touch it, please. Okay, so what we're going to do is cut. I'm actually going to cut off
Oh, I can use this.
this end.
Can I wipe my hands
No. Oh, yeah. Wipe your hands? Yeah.
so I can touch my toys?
Yes. So I just cut off that little edge because it wasn't, I'll use it for something. But, so now we're going to cut this into what we would like, you know, kind of like what a length would be of the actual noodle. And I'm going to try to do these the same. Okay. Okay, that's good. All right, so now we're going to change the crank over to the fettuccine. And there we go. I didn't need a straw. I'm just going to do it this way. My hand. Try to not have it on top of each other. All right. Look at that. It's real pasta. Okay. So I am going to roll the rest of this out and see how long it takes me. It may take a little time. But I'm going to roll the rest of this out and get it all drying, and then we'll come back and see how it looks. Okay, so the pasta is all rolled out. I'll admit, it took a little longer, and that's because I'm still trying to get used to this. And the second piece that I rolled out, I think it was a little too dry, so it kept crumbling and it wasn't working very well. So I just put it all back together in a ball, rolled it in the saran wrap, and then went to the third piece, and that was fine. Then I came back to the second piece after it was like sitting a little bit more and surrounded in the plastic wrap, and it rolled out fine. So all the pieces are done. Let me show you. And we have got pasta for dinner. I am pretty excited. So they're not all the same length, but honestly, that doesn't matter. And then I've got a little pile down here of like scraps that I just kind of tossed in some flour. And I'm just gonna leave that as is until I cook. So I am going to let this sit for a couple of hours before I cook it. And then I'll show you the sauce that I'm doing. I'm doing a pumpkin cream sauce with roasted kale and the toasted walnuts. So really excited to see how this turns out, but I'll show that all to you as I put it together. Okay, so dinner is ready. So we've got the pasta cooked, we've got the sauce made, we've got some walnuts toasted and some shaved Parmesan and some sparkling cider. So let's go ahead and plate it all up. And when you're plating your pasta, or rather when you're emptying it out of the pan, do not rinse it under water, because then you lose all the good starches on your noodles, and that is what helps the sauce stick to the noodles. Gorgeous. So beautiful. Show you guys. Isn't that pretty? So pretty. I'm excited. So I want to thank you. Thank you for joining me in this journey today for homemade pasta for the first time. If you liked the video and you'd like to see more, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll be sure to upload more videos eventually, hopefully soon. Thank you so much, and Happy New Year. Let's hope that 2021 is a lot better than 2020. Stay healthy and stay well. Bye. Harper, stop licking the salt lamp. We don't do that. Okay, you're not a deer.
Look what we got.
Wow.
Look what we got. Chocolate.
Oh, that's
And we
good.
got 3 pieces.
That's
Wow,
good.
look at Mommy with her little fancy light.